China is a nation on a two-front mission. On one front, which we won't cover this month, but is in Tibet, and for a reason I'll explain in a minute, they're engaged in a war of guerrilla warfare, which means both sides are using the mountainous terrain, forestry terrains, to basically go everywhere. While on the other front, they're fighting on two different lines. Well, one has no action this month, despite the Chinese offensive. In one, a decisive battle which could be crucial in the future is being fought. Welcome to the March 12th episode of World War III, month by month, which is also unfortunately done on the 13th, the advance down the coast. Before we go into this episode, can I tell you about a podcast over on Podbean called World War II Week by Week, which you could find after the episode by looking up World War II, scrolling for a while. I think the picture screen is of soldiers on horseback riding with javelins, I believe, or something like that, or flags. Actually, don't even know what they are, but it just says World War II in big bold red letters. Anyway, this podcast is on a 1 month break. After I took a 1 week break at the end of February, each episode coming out at the end of the month. So in next month's episode, we will be covering February and March 1941. Currently, we are focusing on the Blitz, the battles on the sea between China and Japan and Britain and Italy, and the Greek independence war after Italy decided to invade them. This channel has been running for 2 years now, and I've been presenting, narrating and editing it along with this one for a while now, and it has included covering the Chinese Civil War, the Second Sino-Japanese War, the end of the Spanish Civil War, the fall of France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway and Poland, and has also included coverage of the Winter War. So join us, hopefully on March 31st, over on Podbean for our latest episode. Right, now let's get into the episode. So, because of the stalemate occurring in the south, the only action happening this month between the 25th of February and the 3rd of March, which happens because China driving the American forces from Puli again after the Americans counteroffensive right here last month, and Zhahai. This saw the Americans pushed back almost all the way back to the Tonhe Lake, which had been where the Taiwanese had been just before the counteroffensive, just before the ceasefire in July. Which, in the original night, this line had been pushed forward because of Operation Ceasefire as the April offensive for America had been known now. Unfortunately, nothing else happened in the south. Because America mines the whole place and China can't really attack. In the north, though, America continues Operation Encircle. In February, on the 14th, an American division started a drive towards Xiaowao, and using a fake attack on Luotong, they flanked the Chinese, forcing the Chinese divisions to surrender and taking the town on the 19th. The reason it's called Operation Encircle is that the Chinese are planning to drive right down the coast. Thus, when they meet the Americans, the whole Chinese army will be encircled pretty much in a massive pocket, essentially, as they're known in World War II even. 2 days later, another major breakthrough at Liaotong happened, seeing China retreat from the town. 9 days of fighting in Heesong-Shu soon was unfolding, but eventually the town fell, China also losing this. Also losing Chuyan, Horlong and Omai in the process. This was all done by the 14th of March. In the centre, Quang Fu fell on the 29th, and Luochong on the 11th, China losing territory up to the Dongdangyuan River. As for Saoyua, Chinese fighting off an American attack for a week, but on the 28th, America broke through, also taking Nan'an in the process. On the 3rd, more battling happened, but on the 10th, the Americans got through and drove to Qingshui, and that ends this month. In Taiwan. Elsewhere, which we will cover, in Britain, Biden and Sunak met up with many NATO leaders, including the newly instated Ukraine. Zelensky at the meeting thanked the US for inviting him, and in a speech, he said this: "Thank you for inviting me to this meeting, but this is about a meeting about China, and I have a suggestion. Well, in Tibet currently, we are fighting against the Chinese invasion, and China is invading several sovereign nations. We've seen Korea, Colombia, and Taiwan all fighting. Well, of invasions, why don't we commence our own? Why don't we invade the heartland of China, bringing an end to the war itself, invading the nation that has tried to bring down Taiwan, has brought down Korea, and has tried to bring down Colombia. Yes, we may have made our own gains. Yes, we may be on the verge of winning in Taiwan, but the Chinese won't give up. If they can't win in Taiwan, they'll try elsewhere. Mongolia, Nepal, and they're even trying right now in Tibet. If we don't take out China, they will take out us. We must take action." Half of NATO do want to take this action, and this involves France and Germany. But many forces from the NATO side in Tibet say that if we try and invade, then we'll just lose. The Chinese have 2 good defences, and they have an army of innumerable counting. They will throw soldiers at us until we lose. Biden quickly states that he wouldn't invade China as president, and although he has half a year left, he won't do this. Unfortunately for Zelensky and his side, Harris, who is the Democratic candidate, also says she won't either. But we don't know what Trump's reaction is, and this all depends on what happens at the US election. This ends this week's episode. Thanks for listening.